Hello. Thank you for coming in today. I'm very excited about what we have to show you today. We have a variety of knives because I believe that you've come in because you're shopping for your daughter's new wedding. A gift for that? Yeah, you're still doing that? Okay. Yeah, but just keep in mind also any other gifts you might have coming up. It's a high quality product and you might even find yourself wanting some of these knives for yourself. They're very high quality and very functional and useful for everyday use. So I'll start. I'll show you the whole collection. I'll be explaining to you what each of the knives is for. And so first I'll just show you this whole collection here. This is all of the knives, and so this is my display case. You can get the whole set in a nice wood block that you can set on the counter, so it looks very nice out on the counter, really complement any decor that you have in there. Or you can also go for trays that go into the drawers, so you can put them in the drawer. You want to make sure that they are separated nicely though, because if they just clang around in the drawers, they are more easily damaged. And when you have such a high quality product, you really want to make sure that you're taking good care of it. And so I'll start first by telling you just a little bit about the company. I'll actually show you just a little bit. The company is called Cutco, and I believe you should be able to see right here is the name, and that's their little logo. They are produced in the United States. They have a factory up there. I've actually been up to the factory, and they pay their workers very well, and the workers take a lot of pride in the work that they do. And because of that, Cutco actually offer a very good guarantee, which and the reason I bring that up on just this first knife is because you can actually see that if you look here, it's actually broken in between there. And so I do need to send this in for repair. But what I will introduce you to is there is a forever guarantee on all your knives, and so that means it's not just a lifetime guarantee. It is that this would be an heirloom item that you could hand down to your children and then to your grandchildren, and as long as Cutco is in business, and they've been in business since 1950, that they will honor that guarantee. And so what that means is that if there's any sort of breakage or problem with your knife, through no fault of your own, you can send it in. They also have a misuse and abuse policy, which means that should you, I know my brother-in-law had a knife, and it was designed for kitchen use, and he liked to take it around and saw wood. And so that would fall under the misuse and abuse policy. Or if you fry the knives, they had in the factory had very interesting examples of melted spatulas in different sorts, because they have a variety of products. We're just going through the knives today. And so if there's any sort of misuse or abuse, anything like that, then they'll only charge you 50% to repair the knife, and so that's a very, very generous offer. They also offer free lifetime sharpening. For a straight edge knife like this, I would recommend getting a sharpener. There'll be a few straight edges, and there'll be another edge too, which I'll show you, which is more what the lifetime sharpening is designed for, because it's designed to be pretty much, infinitely sharp knife. But it does require occasional sharpening. And so if that would happen, all you would have to do is send it in, and you only have to pay the price of shipping. And otherwise they will sharpen your knife, so it will go back to new. I know my grandmother actually sent in one of her old knives, and they just sent her a completely new knife of the same kind. And she had bought hers back maybe in the 60s or 70s, and had that replaced in this past decade. And so they do really honor that forever guarantee. So this is the first knife that we'll be speaking about. This is a paring knife. It's designed it's not really designed for going against a cutting board. It has a very thin blade, and so it wouldn't stay sharp very long like that. And so it's just designed mainly for going in like this, maybe cutting a soft banana, like, those kind of motions. Cutting off the heads of strawberries, maybe cutting off the little pit of a tomato, just little things like that. I tend to use this mainly for cutting bananas, because I like to cut some bananas for my cereal in the morning, and that would be the main purpose that I would have for that knife. The next knife that we have, this is the trimmer, and this knife has this edge that I've been talking to you about, and that, if you look up a little closer, I don't know how close we can, you can see that it's not actually I'm not sure. Yeah, if you can see, it's actually, the shape is more like this, as opposed to just being a jagged up and down. And what that means is on that straight edge is where it's really sharp. It's sharpened on the angle cusps as well, but that sharp edge there is protected by those teeth. So you have a very sharp edge by those teeth. And then this right here is not very sharp, but so when you press in that you really find that the sharpness comes through. And I have had this knife since 2003, so I've had this knife for over 10 years, and it's still, whenever I slice through a tomato, you just hold it, and it can be a very juicy tomato. And I know we've all had the experience of just squashing it out and it all smashes to the side. But this knife, it'll just glide right through, and the juice will stay all in the tomato. I mean, of course, some comes out, but it does tend to keep a lot more in the tomato. The handle on these is very ergonomic, and it's for both left and right hand. My husband is left-handed, and he loves to use these knives as well. It is a full tang knife, which means that this blade goes all the way through the knife. So you can see that it's all the way through. And it's held in by these steel bolts. It's a polycarbonate finish, and you saw the first one was the classic color, and then this is the white color. I really like this white color. I have a sample set, so I have of both colors. And so this knife is very good for, they call it the trimmer because it's very good for trimming the fat off of chicken, things like that. It's very good for slicing tomatoes, oranges, maybe like your things that are a little bit tougher, but still your smaller fruits and vegetables. It's very good for that sort of thing. But it's not for a super like slicing something. You're not going to want to chop an onion with this. I sometimes will use this to cut off the heads of onions, but a later knife is more what I would use for a chopping function. And the next knife that we have is the spatula spreader. That is this knife. You can see it has this very nice curve. It's also flexible. See, it's bendy, and then it also has that nice edge. It has that double D edge as well there. It also is full tang, and this is the classic. I'm trying to see if I can find. The classic is not just pure black. there's actually a just slight brown tinge to it. It looks almost black, but the way they actually get this little bit of a marbling effect is it comes with, when they are the polycarbonate plastic that they use here. It's a very durable, very strong surgical grade plastic. And so it's very strong, it's very durable, it'll last you a long time. But it comes in these little beads, and so the beads are tiny, just like little beads that you would string on a very small necklace. And so they have lots of black beads, and then they'll have an occasional orange bead, and that's what shows this marbling. I don't know if you can see right here, there's a bit of that marbling effect. And so what this knife is good for, this is good for, I've actually just used this today. It's great for slicing. I have a pan of brownies, and so you can cut the brownies and then you can scoop them right out with the same device. It's great for things like that, for cake, obviously for spreading icing on a cake, things like that. It's also a very good sandwich device. If you're making a sandwich, you want to cut through the tomato, you can use this to cut through the tomato. You can also spread on your mayonnaise or mustard, and then also give your sandwich a cut at the end. So this knife is very good for that, and the highest quality, it's very good, and I find I use that quite often. The next knife that we have here is the Petite Carver, and this one is the trimmer is probably about that size, and so this one's a bit longer than the Petite Carver. They call it the Carver because it's designed for carving of, something the size of like chicken. You wouldn't use this to carve a turkey, but it's very good for carving. Has a full tang. It's a bit of a thicker blade. You can see here the metal is a bit thicker. It's a nice, has a nice strong, just has a nice heft to it. I also like to use this if I have cantaloupe or rock melon, as they call it here. You can use that for slicing through there. It's just a bit of it has a longer blade, so it's good for that size thing, for cutting through, and it is strong enough to get through that kind of tough edge. I wouldn't quite use it on watermelon, because watermelon is a bit too thick for it. But this is very good. We use this on thigh roasts. If you have a roast where it's, just in a little roll, maybe on a ham roast as well, just for cutting those. And you can use the turning fork along with that. These kind of are a little bit of a pair. And so you have this turning fork, and this has very nice, and it has sharp tines. You can see here, very sharp tines. And it's just very thin, it's very elegant, it has a nice curve to it, and this one does not have a full tang, it just goes in shortly, but that's just because it's for forking, it doesn't need the whole twist. So and obviously if you got a pair, they would be in the same color. Mine are just to show what you could have for, either or, but you would want them in the same color so that when you show them off, when you are having a nice dinner, you can, have them look nice together. And so that's the turning fork as well. The next knife, this is one of my favorite knives, just because before I found this knife, I've never used another knife that's similar to this. This is the butcher knife, and it is very thick. It's a very strong knife. It also has a very fun shape. I just love that point that it comes to. It's just a very nice point. It just feels a bit like a Japanese chef maybe. But it makes, and it's a very strong knife, and so it can get through lots of things. If you have a whole chicken, you can cut through bones with this. It will cut through those really hard tendons. This is what I use to make the initial cut in a watermelon, and maybe if I'm going to cut the watermelon into fourths, I'll use this to, anytime I need to really cut through the outside, that's what I'll use this knife for. It's also good, yeah, just for your meats, if you have to just cut through any really tough areas. Anything a bit frozen, if it's a bit frozen you want to cut through with this. Obviously, I mean, this can't cut through something very solid if it's too frozen. But if it's a little bit frozen, or if it's a soft frozen thing, then this could cut through. Say if you had a frozen fruit that were all stuck together and you wanted to get them into more pieces, this would be helpful for cutting those apart. But yeah, it's just a very, this steel, I haven't told you about this steel yet, it is surgical grade quality. It does polish up very nicely. I haven't actually polished my knives in a while, I just kind of wash them. But you see it has a very nice shine. And then this one has a straight edge, and you'd want to sharpen this, but it does stay very, because of the quality of the steel, it does keep its sharpness very long. You don't need to sharpen it all the time, but it is nice to have a sharpener so that you can sharpen the edge of the knife on these straight ones. You would not want to put a double D edge through the sharpener, sorry. So that, this is just a very high quality knife, and it's very nice. And the next knife I have is the butcher knife. Oh, sorry, the chef's knife. That was just the butcher knife, wasn't it? So you have the petite chef, and then you have the full chef. Looks like the point on mine's kind of dull. So you have the petite. This is a petite, and then you have a full chef's knife, which goes a bit longer, like that too. And so this knife is very good for chopping. I use this knife all the time. It's because for almost every meal that I make, you always start with chopping a few onions and garlic, and so it's just great. It works really nice in that swivel motion. I use it for chopping carrots. Just kind of hold the carrot there in place and then chop right down the middle. You can get through that thick, because it is a thick knife, not quite as thick as the butcher knife, but still a very strong knife, and so you can get through those hard things. It's very nice for chopping cucumbers. You can chop through a cucumber and we'll go through there, and peppers and all sorts of things. This knife is just a genuine utility in the kitchen, and really speeds everything up so you don't have to use a smaller knife. If you use the proper knife for a job, your life in the kitchen will be so much easier. And so that's what we are trying to get for your daughters, just really easy use in the kitchen. You can see a bit more of the marbling there. See right there, maybe. Just a bit of that orange there, just a little bit of color. Yeah, and so it's just a nice little slight marbling effect. And the next knife that we have, this is the full carving knife. You can use this a bit interchangeably with the petite carver, except this is I consider this the Thanksgiving knife. You know, when you carve a turkey, you want a nice knife to do it with, and this is what you want for your Thanksgiving. And I'll show you we actually have a matching set for this one, so I'll show you. See, it has that nice white, and see if we can get that thing there. Okay, sorry. And And so you can see it's a very nice set. You have the turning fork, the carving fork, and this one's just, it's just not just thicker. This will hold more, and it just has that, you know, that ability to just go right in where you would need it. You could also use this in your cooking if you're turning over steaks, things like that. It's just very strong and would be very useful for that. Very pointy tips. And then also just that very ergonomic handhold. So you can just hold it a variety of ways and just very nice. And so that is just, I mean, that's just a very nice looking set for your Thanksgiving Day just to put out with your turkey. And our next knife is the slicer. This is a very long knife, and then you see it actually comes to a curvy edge. And so this isn't designed for poking in, or it's just it has a very long edge, so it's very good for slicing. If you like to freshly bake bread, or if you like to buy bread that's freshly baked but not pre-sliced, this knife is great for that. You can just slide right through in one motion and get a single slice. It's a very, very long blade. I don't know if you can see just how it's a very long blade. It's also very good for shredding cabbage. Just, you know, because cabbage just can be pretty big, and so you just need that long blade. Anytime you just need that long blade to slice right through something, that is what the slicer is for. And it's a very nice knife, and it just works very well. Okay. And then our final knife, and these are very fun knives. These are the table knives. So they look a lot like just a kind of a typical butter knife, and then they have that nice handhold, but then they also have that double D edge. And so they have that flat edge enough so that you can still spread butter on your bread, and so you don't need a steak knife and a table and a regular knife. You would just need to put this table knife out, and it can serve all those functions. It's very good for cutting steak at the table, any sort of meat, if you have ham or chicken or, you know, anything like that. Even if you would like to cut vegetables or lasagna or anything like that, it just cuts right through. And so it's very good with that. This one doesn't have the full tang, it just goes slightly in. But all of these knives are made in the US at that factory I was telling you about. It's actually located just right near Niagara Falls, actually. And it's just a very nice quality, and it's just a very good factory, and the workers are very happy and they're very proud of their work. And so it's a company that you can really be proud to be supporting, because they really do good work, and they are American. And so so this whole set that I've shown you, wow, just a little cling of those knives. I'm gonna put those right back in. Maybe we'll pull them all out. We'll leave them all out so you can see them. Okay, so that is a collection of knives. And that, oh, didn't pull out the slicer, sorry. Okay, and so that is a collection of knives. Wrong direction. And so this is called the Homemaker set. And so this is really the best set for, so you have a job for all the purposes. Obviously, if you were giving somebody a Christmas gift, maybe a nice, carving set. But I think for a wedding, this is the set I would go with. You can get it with or without the table knives. If you get it with the table knives, it comes with 8 table knives, so that's a nice number. If your daughter is very into cooking and she's a bit of an entertainer, we do have an entertainer set, which has an even more extensive range. But this is usually pretty suitable for most people. If there is, there are other sets. There's the one that doesn't have the butcher knife. I sometimes think of that as the vegetarian set, except that I use this all the time for watermelon more than I even use it on meat. And so I really think this is also very nice with pineapple. Very good for that really tough skin. The only knives I really wouldn't go without are the carving set. If you're not a big turkey eater on Thanksgiving, they wouldn't be a big deal. But I really do love that butcher knife. I use it a lot. And the slicer. So I think it's a pretty good set, and that's the set I would really recommend going with. If you wanted just an essentials set, you could go with just these 4. That's an essentials set. And then there are other pairings if you had other gifts that you wanted to go for. So do you think that the Homemaker set, would that be a good set for your daughter? Yeah, that would? Okay. Now I know we'll have to discuss the financial aspect, but I will tell you that because it's a wedding, and we all love weddings, and it's just always happy, and so I would like to support the bride as well. I can actually give you the table. I can throw in the 8 table knives for free, and so we'll do that for you so that we can get her the nice set with the table knives. And so would you prefer to do it in the block, which is a really nice wood block? You can get a cherry finish or just a normal oak finish. There's also a bit of a whitewash finish that you can get. Okay, you would like to go with the wood block? Yeah, I have trays for my table knives, and I really would like to get a block for my knives, but I do have this for them, so I do use this for now. But if I were to use it normally just on the counter, I would really get a wood block, and I would recommend that. So what, have you decided which finish you would like to use? Would you like to go with the classic, or are you going to go for the white? You go with the white? Yeah, I really like the white. I think white in a cherry block would look good. Do you want to do the cherry block? Okay, we'll go with white in the cherry block. Okay, so I'll write down that order for you, and we'll get that all taken care of. And just before that, is there any other, is there anything that else you'd be interested in? Would you like anything for yourself or for anyone else? Okay, you would like to get a carving set for a sister? Okay, yeah, we can do that. Okay, and then you want to get and then you would like to get another set for yourself. Okay, yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Did you want to go white with cherry again? Oh, you want to go black with the oak. Yeah, that's a really nice look as well. I think those 2 looks are the best kind of combinations that there are. No, so those will look very nice. Okay, so we'll get that all written up, and your order should arrive within 2 weeks. If you have any problems, of course, call me and I will take care of it. If you need me to come over and explain to your daughter about the knives, show her what uses for each one, I'm more than happy to come and do a demonstration for her. We could even do it in her kitchen, and so I could show her with some of the different foods that she has there, the most common ones, and what knives would be ideal for using those. And yeah, so are you happy with that? Okay, then we'll just go ahead and process your order. And really thank you for coming in, and I'm glad I could show you. I really just love talking about these knives because I just love using them every day myself, and so I love being able to just share that with everyone else. nice day, and thank